Well, good afternoon, everybody. We appreciate you joining us here for this FastWeigh AR webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about the benefits of integrating electronic payments with your point of sale system. I'm BJ Lusk, Senior Sales Engineer for TAC Insight, and I'm going to be joined today by Shannon Walcott. She's the National Business Development Executive for BASYS Processing. So we will be accepting questions in this webinar. You see at the top of the screen the little bubbles with a question mark. Ask those questions at any time. If you're like me, if you don't write it down immediately, you'll forget it. So as soon as you think of those questions, go ahead and type them in there. We are going to wait until after the presentation to go over those questions, but feel free at any time to ask those questions. So, processing payments from within FastWeigh, there's a lot of valuable aspects to FastWeigh's AR system. We're going to focus on some specific things today. Obviously, the streamlined payment processing and collection from within FastWeigh. You can accept cash and checks and credit cards and different things like that. Really, though, I think we're really going to focus in on today the processing, secure processing, PCI-compliant processing of credit cards and ACH transactions. So we're not really going to focus on the cash and check receipts. We're really going to hone in on the credit card and ACH transactions during this webinar today. Now, many of you are familiar with the name BASYS. There's probably a lot of you that are not. So I'm going to turn things over to Shannon right now and let her kind of give us a background of who BASYS is and what they do.
Thanks, BJ. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. BASYS Processing. So we are the integrated payment processor within FastWeigh and the payment module. We're located here in Lenexa, Kansas, which is just south of Kansas City, so go Chiefs. We're one of the largest credit card processors in the country, but we like to keep things, or saying is bigger is not better. Better is better. We're the largest family-owned processor in the United States. You guys, I see the CEO every day. He stops by and makes sure that he says hi to almost everyone in the office. I see his dad comes around with donuts. I finally convinced him to start bringing me apples because, come on, Frank, 2 donuts a week is not that good. But we wanted to be clear that we see your money before you do, but we want to keep things very easy and transparent. So anytime that anybody calls BASYS, you're just going to be, you have direct numbers. You'll have direct numbers to, the people that work directly with me and my team. So all of the PCI security, so anytime you have to go through that self-assessment questionnaire, we're going to go through that with you. We're going to make sure that you're accepting cards in a safe and secure manner. Any type of technical assistance, you can give us a call, customer support. We're all here in Kansas City. I tell you, my team can find a penny on Mars. So personally, I've been with BASYS for almost 10 years now, and I was the second inside salesperson hired. We used to just process for local community banks all across the United States, but with my team, as they said, let's branch out. Let's find an industry. And having a little bit of construction as my background, I kind of knew the processes. And here we are. This is where I kind of met TAC. I did meet TAC Insight and saw their FastWeigh product. And, they did the vetting process. And it's where we became partners. This last thing, and my apologies, BJ, I put this on you last minute, this Net Promoter Score, but I learned of that today. I was talking with one of my executive vice presidents, and he was telling me about this score, and I knew a little bit about it, but not much. But basically, it is a score between, negative 100 all the way up to 100. And it's really just your ratio of how many of your clients would recommend you or your services. So it got me thinking, all right, negative 100 to 100. What's my competition? Saw their scores. We're looking at negative 11, 4, 17. Read that anything over 50 is excellent. So I was like, geez, what's Google? What's Apple? Apple's 68. I couldn't find Google's, but Apple's 68, and that's pretty cool. Anything over 80, per what I read this morning, is considered world class. And really, what that means something really to me, because one of our slogans is world class support, and ours is 82. I just really wanted to share that because I think that's pretty neat, and it shows you kind of who we are as a business. And since we're moving your money, it's pretty important that we're doing a good job, and that's a good one. So sorry for putting on that last minute, BJ, but I thought that was pretty cool.
No, I'm glad you did. That is cool. I think that was a great thing to add in there. It just speaks so, to it really kind of transitions us well to this next slide. I mean, we did go through a vetting process to find the proper company to partner with, and we searched through a lot of companies and came up with BASYS. And I think that the same reason that we did is you talk about that score is that people know that you guys know what you're doing, and they would recommend. And I think that's just a fantastic thing to include there. But this relationship that we have, this FastWeigh and BASYS relationship, how does it benefit our customers? And you can see the list of things right there. The first and foremost thing is no more double entry. I talk about this a lot when I talk to people. I say, we want to help you eliminate double entry because nobody likes to enter things multiple times. So with no more double entry, we're going to be able to save you time and money. I come from a world where I used to double enter things. When I worked in a quarry and did the billing, and I had to enter things in one system and then come over and enter them into another system, it took a lot of time. So moving to FastWeigh's AR system is going to save you time and money. And also, too, it's going to be able to reduce errors. Anytime you have multiple touches of anything, you're going to open yourself up for possible errors. So by eliminating those touches, we're going to reduce those errors or reduce the chance for those errors. Better support. Shannon just talked about that just now. And you guys that are FastWeigh customers, about the great support from FastWeigh. Actually, I'm up here in Knoxville right now, and we went to dinner last night with the support crew, and we had a good time. But about the support that you get with FastWeigh. Now transition that over to BASYS. You're going to get that same level of dedicated customer support that you get with FastWeigh with BASYS, and you're going to get it through the entire process, from the time that you're creating the ticket all the way to the time that your money is deposited in your bank. Personal service, there's a word I'm going to key in here. It says have a direct relationship with your transaction processor. I want to focus in on that word relationship, because you are more than just a customer. We do want to grow with your business. We want to develop that relationship to where, we know your business. Anytime you call up, it's not just like, okay, remind me again, or we know you. We have that relationship with you, and we can really work with you to find what it is that you need. And then also, too, the final piece for complete business management. I kind of hinted to this just a little bit earlier, but we have, and I talk to people all the time, and one of the big things that they say is we want to have as many processes in one system that we can. And so we're doing that here. We're taking our AR module, which in a lot of cases is a separate system, and we're bringing that into FastWeigh. So you're eliminating having to move from this system to this system to this system, and getting as much as you can into one system. So just a quick overview of the AR and payments. One, the integrated credit card and ACH payments. So you're going to be able to do those in FastWeigh. And we're going to show you that here in just a minute. I'm going to actually go to one of the screens. I'll go to my phone and go to the web portal and show you a couple of things there and how we can work with those. But those are included here in the AR system. Tracking customer balances and aging, and being from the world of having to do billing before, I think this is one of the best things about it, is giving us real-time information of customer balances. So, maybe you invoice weekly, And you only get updated customer balances once a week. And you're having to take tickets and add them up and figure, okay, are they getting close to being over their credit limit or something like that? So with our system, you're able to track all that information in real time. And not to get too far ahead of myself, but even soon the scale operators will be able to track those balances live and in real time. Printing, and I'll add to this, emailing AR statements out to customers. I was doing a demo for somebody the other day, and I mentioned that you could email AR statements to your customers, and I could just hear the excitement in her voice about something as simple as emailing invoices direct from the system, not invoices, statements direct to the customers. Something that simple can make such a big difference, because if you're printing AR statements right now and putting them in envelopes and mailing them out, how much time that takes. So being able just to click a button and it automatically distribute those statements to people is a big help. AR adjustments to the customer balances, any adjustments you need to make to customer balances you can do from within the FastWeigh AR system. AR inquiry screens and reporting. So if you're a FastWeigh user, you're familiar with all the query screens that you can see, the inquiry screens that you can see, the ticket query, the dashboard, other screens that you can see quick information. You're going to have that in the AR system, in the balance dashboard. You're going to be able to see quick information on aging and customer balances. The payment history and invoice screen, you're going to be able to quickly see invoices and payment history of customers. So you're going to have those inquiry screens there within the AR system. And also to the reporting, it's still a newer module for us here at FastWeigh. So we're building those reports as we're learning of what people need. We've got a good selection of reports already, but as we're learning what people need, we're constantly adding to those reports that are available to you within the AR module. And then refunds, it comes up that you have to refund your customers, and we can do a simple, a refund or whatever, credit the account. But also too, when you talk about somebody paying with a credit card, maybe we need to refund that credit card. We can refund that specific credit card through our AR module. So I'm going to bring Shannon back in for this one, because, it never fails when we're talking to people. The big questions are security and risk and things like that. So I'm going to let Shannon talk just a little bit about the security that BASYS offers.
Thanks, PJ. I appreciate it. And just one more thing on my background. I worked in the PCI compliance division of BASYS for the beginning of my career here. So I have some of these four options here, and I'm just kind of let you know what I see and what I hear out there as far as requests from companies, very much all like all of you guys, and then just kind of guiding on what my thoughts are. So how to reduce data security, vulnerabilities while optimizing efficiency. I mean, by utilizing integrated payments. This is exactly what this whole thing is about. This industry is changing, and the industry doesn't change very quickly, but it's changing quicker and quicker every day. Besides grocery stores, and even though that they have an app now that you can order groceries online, there's not a lot of customers or not a lot of companies that require you to be in person 100% of the time. Maybe a restaurant, but even at that, to-go food and all of that. So we really honed in and spent a lot of time, months, with this integration, creating the integrated payments within the AR module. Behind each transaction, so talking about security and also talking about, how much is this, how much is the cost of it. Behind each transaction, no matter how you run the payment, so between the card terminal, vaulted card, text to pay, there's 18 lines of code, things that we're pulling from FastWeigh's information. So item descriptor, or MCC code, things that just do not change from transaction to transaction unless you're hosting a golf tournament. And even at that, it's still going to add the extra lines of code to make sure that, one, the data is secure, two, that you're getting the lowest and best interchange rate possible. Sometimes, up to, percentage to a percentage and a half than just a regular standard credit card machine or Clover Flex. Within the integration, I mean, we have 4 main types of ways to process. Terminals, so the ability is built in. It's not necessary, it's not required, and it's not necessarily cheaper. The second and third are kind of the same. This web payment, so you can, if customer calls in, you can safely and securely enter in a credit card number. It's going to be encrypted and truncated on the back end, meaning we'll jumble it all up. So nobody can steal credit card numbers from you, and you can also save them in a customer vault. So if you have, BJ's construction company coming in once a week or either on a net 30, then you can go ahead and safely and securely keep that card in a vault, and we host that number. You'll only be able to see the first 6 and last 4 of the card. And again, those lines of code are going to be put in whether it's the credit card terminal or a vaulted or web payment. The text to pay, you guys, I love this functionality, and it really works in quite a few scenarios. CODs or deliveries. So if you're going to deliver some product, not a lot of homeowners want to have $7,000 handed over, and a lot of drivers don't want to throw that underneath their seat. Going back to the plant, customers, they can get a link and just pay it on their phone, just right then and there, which I really like that functionality. A lot of times I don't want to hand over my card. So if I can do it myself, and most people don't have their credit card number memorized, but I do, I can just enter in very fast, and I feel safe, and I feel like that's secure and noted my card number is not going to get jeopardized. Also, if we're talking at the scales, some companies want to keep the drivers in their trucks. No need going back and forth and increasing that type of security when it comes to data, but also safety. And so if you have somebody that's just in a truck, you can send out the invoice and ticket, and they can just pay right then and there. Easy peasy. This option, the text to pay, and the next one, my favorite, it also lowers the risk of chargebacks. So to be real, if I'm going to buy something online and I'm going to enter in my own credit card number, the less likely that I'm going to call and report that as a fraudulent transaction. I'm probably going to move a little bit slower because I know it's my credit card number, and I don't want to have anything miskeyed and that come back on me. No. And so the risk of transactions or the chargebacks is less when their customers are doing it themselves. And then lastly, and this is what BJ is going to show you as well, is it's a customer-facing portal. In this industry, attempting to lower data risk and PCI security is a very big topic. That's why we're here. And I just think this is such a fantastic option. I'm used to logging into sites to pay my bills. Heck, I paid my water bill in between meetings today. And by having this functionality and having this, type of product that I do not see it anywhere out there, it allows for faster funding. If I can go in and pay my bill and not have to wait on hold for, a back office, then you're going to go ahead and get that payment securely, safely, and probably quicker. No chasing me down to find me when I have time to pay my bill. It's also going to save time by, eliminating the need for people to call in and read off that credit card number, whether or not it's at the scale or the back office. We're not writing down that credit card number, putting it on a Post-it, putting it into the system later. Customer-facing portal just allows the customer just to do it themselves. And I think that's really, that keeps your data secure. And I just think it's great. So the customers can manage it themselves. And I'm really excited for BJ to show you guys what that looks like.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And I think it's, when we were talking about putting this webinar together, we really, it's like, hey, we really want to focus in on this customer facing portal, because it is, in my mind, one of the most beneficial parts to the AR system that we have is allowing customers to be able to pay the invoices on their own. So you can see that they're allowing the customers to pay their invoices on their own accounts by logging in. And I'm going to show it to you here in just a second. And then Shannon mentioned very well the email and text to pay features. I'm going to show you that as well here in just a second. And she's right, you know, taking that burden off of drivers and dispatchers. They don't have to manage cash, check, credit card numbers. I mean, you know, you don't want them to have to carry around a bunch of cash. And trust me, they don't want to have to be carrying around a bunch of cash because it's nerve-wracking carrying that much and being responsible for that. So we eliminate and we alleviate that burden that's been placed on them. And then obviously, you know, something we've said before, reduce risk, save time, and then streamline your processes. So now I'm going to do an old switcheroo here and get out of the PowerPoint and get over to the customer facing portal here. So for you FastWeigh customers, you know, if you've never logged in as a customer, this is what it looks like from your customer's point of view here. You can see the screens here. But when we talk about making a payment, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two different scenarios. I'm going to be, you know, Joe's construction and Joe's sitting on his couch at night and he's forgot to pay his bill. He's going to log in and pay one of his invoices via credit card. And then in the other scenario, I'm going to do what Shannon was mentioning, that cash delivery. You know, a homeowner calls and needs a load of gravel for their driveway, and we want to get payment before we deliver that material. So I'm going to show you that text to pay feature here in just a second as well. But right now, I said Joe, so I'm going to say I'm Joe sitting on the couch, and I remember to make my payment. So I'm logged in as a customer, so I'm going to come up to this payment screen right here, and I'm going to hit new payment. So when I hit new payment, it's going to bring me to the screen where I can see all of my open invoices. So I'm going to just go to the oldest one and go ahead and pay it real quick. I'm going to check the box right there. That's the invoice that I want to pay. Now the payment method can be credit card or ACH. Now I don't have the ACH functionality turned on for this particular customer, but do know that they could do that as well. So I've got all that information in there. Now I'm going to hit create payment. And so from here, I've got the option to enter a new credit card number, or I can store a credit card in the system. And do know that the credit cards, when they're stored, they're not stored in FastWeigh, they're stored in BASYS. So, but I'm going to use a stored credit card here. So I'm going to do that. And we'll manually key one in when we go to the text to the pay feature. So I've got that credit card there, save and continue, review to make sure everything is right. Hit the button right there. It's going to download a receipt here in just a second. So there's that receipt. We'll just cancel out of that. Payment was made. You can see the reference number right there. And everything's done. A couple other things before I leave this view right here. I just wanted to kind of point out too that the customer can do. They've got the balance dashboard here that they're going to be able to see their balances right here, the aging and everything, all right here on this screen. And then also too, they're going to be able to enter, I mentioned, you know, storing the credit cards and stuff. Here's where they're going to be able to enter their payment information to store it and use it as a default. They could put multiple credit cards in there if they wanted to, or credit card and ACH. Okay, now forgive me because I'm going to switch from the computer here over to my phone. So let me stop sharing there. Get over to my phone. See if this, there we go. All right, so when we send a link, a text to someone to pay, now it can be done by email too. I just thought, you know, the text is kind of a cooler thing to show. But when we get the text message, you'll see right here, invoice 2608 is available to pay online. I'm going to click right there on that link. And it's going to pull up this payment link. So I'm going to go through this process here. We can see the invoice number, the amount, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and enter this information here. So I'll type this fake credit card in there. Let's go ahead and give it an expiration date here. Type it. So I've found as I do these things, I'm not very good at talking and typing. So if I get quiet for just a second, just know that I'm not good at multitasking. So now we'll do this here. So we've got all this payment information in there. You can see. So now I'm going to hit this make payment button. Review and confirm. You can see right there. Click OK. Well, it was a bad credit card number. It was declined. So, you test this when you're prepping for the demo and everything works properly. And for some reason, that one didn't. But rather than fight it and try to go through it, I think you can see, well, that's good to see too. Credit card was declined. So, hey, you don't have enough money on that credit card to cover that charge right there. So it was declined. So that's, even though it's not what I wanted to happen, it's good to see that things like that will happen. But I think you get the idea. The same as when I processed it on the portal, it's going to go through and it's going to process, and that payment's going to be made, and then we can make that delivery to the homeowner. And it's going to download a receipt as well when we make that payment. So the homeowner doing this payment process right here would be able to download a receipt. Okay, so now I'm going to switch back over to my computer screen. Get this PowerPoint pulled back up here. So that's kind of where we are now. And I want to talk a little bit about, the roadmap, the coming soon, what we're going to be offering to you here in the future. And my favorite thing to tell people about is the integrating the desktop scale application with the payment process. So right now, the way it is, scale operators that are taking payments have to switch from the desktop scale app to the web portal to make those payments. And it's not a hard process, but switching back and forth, if we can eliminate some of that back and forth, we want to. So integrating the payment with the desktop scale app is coming. It's coming sooner than I think some people realize it is. And what it's going to look like is basically when they hit print, right now there would be like an option that says maybe something like print to pay. And when they click that, it's going to open up a dialog box where they can enter the payment information and then process that credit card or cash check, whatever it may be. And also too, they're going to be able to not just one ticket, but if they wanted to do multiple tickets, they could. So if you have somebody that you trust and they leave you an open check, or they say, hey, run my credit card at the end of the day, you're going to be able to process multiple tickets from the desktop scale app in the future. Generate invoice and payment record from the scale app back to the web portal. Also too, and I said this a minute ago, but the ability to check customer credit from the scale app. So instead of having to call in the office and check on those things, or the office having to call to the scale house, they're going to be able to see that live and in real time from the scale app. Credit and rebills. So currently within the FastWeigh system, it's a clear and re-invoice, but we're going to beef that up to a true credit and rebill process. And then finally, period close. We're going to give you the ability to close out an accounting period, whether it be a monthly thing, a quarterly thing, whatever it is. We're going to give you the ability to close that time period out, so you can't go back into that period and change it, delete a ticket or whatever it may be. You won't be able to go back into that time frame and mess with anything. Okay, so do we have any questions? Let's kind of take a look and see what questions we might have. It looks like no questions as of yet. I'll give you another minute or two in case you think of something. Okay. So how do we get started with FastWeigh AR and payments? Well, if you're already a FastWeigh customer, then, obviously we'll kind of show you AR and let you see what it looks like. Do an initial discovery, open the conversation and just kind of talk about things. We'll get your current processing information if you have any. You may not be accepting credit cards right now, but we'll get that information from you. We'll get with Shannon and her team and kind of get some numbers together for you so you can see what your rates would be with them. And then when you make the decision to go forward, we'll have a kickoff call between, with us and with BASYS, with Shannon and her team, to kind of talk about implementation. You'll go through the onboarding process to get everything, hooked up, installed, and trained on, and things like that. And then finally, once you're finished with the onboarding, we'll transition you over to FastWeigh and BASYS support. We appreciate everybody joining us today. Feel free to give us a call at any time. You can reach us at those numbers there. But again, we appreciate it. Any other questions you may have, you think of something after the fact, give us a call, shoot us an email, whatever you need to do. We'd be happy to answer those questions.
Hey, BJ, I think we have a couple of questions, to be honest. I can read them to you because I know that you're managing that. So we have one. Are we going to be able to sync back to our accounting system?
So it depends on what the accounting system is. In some cases, yes, that is possible. Not all cases. It really just depends on the level of openness that accounting software has. Some of the newer versions, we're actually doing some integrations right now with some that we are able to do that with. But that's just something I guess we can talk about offline and see what it is you guys are using.
Gotcha. And then another one, how do we set up the customer's account for them to view accounts and make payments? Is that a fairly easy process?
Yeah. So in the user admin, you go to the user admin. I'll tell you what, I'm just I don't have it pulled up. But yeah, so if you're an admin, you'll just go into the user admin page, and you're going to set them up as a customer. So when you set up their email address and everything there, you designate which customer that they are for, and then they'll have access to be able to see all that information. Because when you turn on the AR payments and things like that, that automatically gives that customer the ability to make those payments.
Great, that's all we had.
All right, good deal. Well, yeah, like I said, we appreciate you joining us. Got any other questions, feel free to reach out to us. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.